Perfect. Are you ready?
Yo, what is up, everybody? Your boy E-Man from the Average Sports Talk Podcast. Another week, another edition of the Unscripted Podcast, of course, with our boy. What up, Cricket?
What's going on, man? How you doing? Sorry, man. I snuck in here right before we had to go live, man. We didn't get the time to chat before. How you doing, brother?
It's all good, man. It's all good. Listen, I'm prepared. That's why it's called the Unscripted Sportscast, bro. We got to go out here unscripted, top of the dome, because we're pros like that. You know what I'm saying? How you doing, man?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I've been in the middle of a rough run, man. It's been a tough couple weeks here. We're trying to right the ship. I didn't even really put any picks out tonight, man. I took one anytime goal scorer in hockey, and I'm going to try to gear up for a big weekend in college basketball, man.
I've been up and down, but actually last couple of nights been in the green. I'm actually been more in the green than I've been off the green.
Okay.
The NCAA tournament has been a little bit of wave. Bad day one, decent day two, great day three, okay day four. You know what I'm saying? By Sunday, it was kind of like a little back, and then after that, I went back to the NBA, which kind of righted the ship. But doing much better than I did last year, though. I have definitely changed my way of betting thanks to you and those boys and the gorgeous blonde and that damn sports network and Smoke the Spread. She's brilliant. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've kind of learned my way to just bet completely different, man. You know what I mean?
Man.
A while.
Yeah, got a little different angles, different layers and things to look at there. Yeah, the NCAA tournament, I had an okay first round. The second round, man, I've got to reevaluate how I'm going to look at that going forward. I do not think that is the time. We got to get off these dogs after the first round. The favorites kind of tend to. I know this was a weird year. There's a lot of chalk this year, but I do think that you see a lot of times in those spots, those double-digit dogs that wind up winning in the first round, or the double-digit seed dogs there. You know, they don't. It's kind of hard for those teams to put that together twice in 3 days there, and you see the talent kind of shine through in the games like Duke and James Madison and things like that. So I think I will kind of reevaluate that a different way going forward, man. But wait, we're going to get back on the horse this week and see if we can do a little bit better.
Well, Jim has the right idea. He says he's putting the house on whoever Drake does not bet on. That's always a solid play. So I think that might be a thing to do, right? Where's Drake's money going?
That's fair, man. Find out where that's going, man.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the Sweet 16 today. We're going to look at the remaining teams, do some quick picks on them, kind of cook a little breakdown. I really want to go over today, man. I mean, look, we've had a lot of things going on in the in sports in this past couple of days, man. Actually, Monday started, Shohei Ohtani news, the whole gambling situation. I mean, Pete Rose did a little cameo saying, hey, guess what, man? And we got to hit that a bit of scot-free of Ohtani if I had an interpreter back in the day. He might not be wrong. But also, mainly, I want to talk about this NFL rule changes. There was a few rule changes passed out for 2024. But I think I want to kind of highlight the ones that probably are going to make the most noise, right? I mean, are you aware of these NFL changes, man?
I am, sir. I've talked about these a few times today.
Yep. What do you think of let's talk about the white elephant in the room first and foremost. The one that everybody's upset about. All right. Everybody in the NFL, especially the defensive players, the hit drop tackle, man. Will no longer be allowed. What are they going to get? Like a 15-yard penalty or something every time
15-yard
that tackle is 10-yard penalty?
15-yarder, an automatic first down, I believe.
Yep, exactly. I mean, let me show the people what they talk about when they mean a hip drop tackle. Ready? Let me show this example here, because this is the one that everybody's putting out there.
The one everybody's talking about. There's a few of them out there. I mean,
I see.
But that's what they're talking about right there. Yep. And here's the thing, man. How are you supposed to police that right there? That to me looks like a football play. Yes, it's unfortunate, but injuries are part of the game. We never want to see anybody get hurt, but these are part of the game right here. And you train these people. This is not something you just fix overnight, man. These are NFL players that have been training one way and been coached one way since they were 7, 8 years old, whatever. I know I started playing football when I was 6 years old. You've been taught that way from the time you stepped on a football field. And I don't know how you just change that. How do you expect somebody? What are you supposed to do, man? You're going to create more injuries by making these guys go head on with guys like Derrick Henry and Mark Andrews than you would on the hip drop tackle right there. Because what are they supposed to do, man? How are they supposed to tackle these monsters if you can't get a little momentum behind it? I understand what you're trying to do, but I don't know how you police something like this. And then you train these guys have trained one way their whole life. You can start doing it now for the future, for the kids that are coming up now, you can start training to not have this as part of the game. But I don't know how you expect these guys that have been doing this their whole life just to change this.
Here's a question I have, Cricket, and you played football, man, a lot longer than I did. I never played organized, right? Watched it a lot of stuff like that. My main two sports are baseball and basketball. I could talk about rules all day and experience. However, me from an outsider looking in, somebody who's never played the sports, most of these tackles players are either coming from the side or behind, right? And you're going low to stop the momentum of the player with the ball.
Yep.
What are you expected to tackle? Because you cannot go high either. Because if you go high and try to grab a shoulder pad, it's got to end up getting a face mask or something like that, or a horse collar. What are you going to go for the feet? Are we going to try to do trip tackles? Is that going to be it? And it's not going to be a very successful formula because it's not going to end up in a tackle. So what do we do here from a pro standpoint and actually making a play to stop this? Because right now you've taken a large, and I'm looking from a top anatomy part of it. You're taking a huge part of the body away from the defender to make a play, to stop a run. How the F do you do this?
I'll tell you what you and I do. We bet the overs, sir.
Yes, sir. That's right.
That's what we do, man, because I think you're going to see a lot more higher scoring games. You're obviously going to see some of these guys. And I don't know. It's probably going to be an ugly product early on. It really is. Like I said, I don't know. It's really more one of those judgment call type things that, how strict are they going to be on this early on? Like a play like this, like if you throw a penalty on that, all it's going to do is drive us fans insane, man. Between the roughing the passer penalties and these, and we ain't even got to the kickoff yet, which I think is absolute football blasphemy. And so it's like, man, this is blowing my mind. I like, when do we just go ahead and put flags on them? We have to understand these guys are making millions of dollars. There's a risk involved, and that's part of making millions of dollars at doing something. You got guys walking out building skyscrapers every day that ain't making that kind of money, that are putting themselves in more harm than this, man. Guys working on electrical lines and things like that. I know they make good money, but they don't make this kind of money.
No.
And it's like, come on, man. Like, at what point do we say, hey, you're making enough money? This is part of it.
Just like Jim said, you read his mind. They are freak injuries, plain and simple. Once you commit to a tackle, anything can happen. One or two of none of these injuries were any intent.
Exactly. And here's another thing you do. When you start making guys let up on plays to where they're having to, try to figure out this right form or whatever you want them to do, you start letting up, you start getting people hurt that way also, because you're going to get ran over, man, because the guy on the offensive side of the ball is not going to stop.
No, absolutely.
I think
flags are definitely flags are coming at this point. You know what I mean? Please explain how to tackle when you go high. It's crazy because I think that's going to be the future. I hope it doesn't turn to like the Pro Bowl, right? That's what I'm trying to say here. Because it's you're taking away almost every possible location where you can make a play from a defensive side. And when it comes to hitting somebody else.
If I'm a guy like Roquan Smith or, these other stud, Fred Warner and these stud linebackers in the league, I'm like, what do you want me to do, man? I'm already undersized tackling most of these freaking guys. I know these linebackers are monster human beings too. I know that. But Mark Andrews is like 6'5", 260. Derrick Henry, 6'3", 250. Like, what are you supposed to do to these guys, especially if you're not 6'3", 240? What are you supposed to do as a strong safety that weighs 210, 6'3", 210? So I know you're still a big guy too, but you're not 6'5", 260. I don't know what they expect him to do, man.
And it's true. It's like anything else in life, bro. You start with one particular rule, which protecting the quarterbacks, giving a lot more stuff. Then all of a sudden, you cannot change any more rules for the quarterbacks. It's just going to make it unfair, practically, right? Now you're moving the problem somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's like, when do we stop? And honestly, football has always been a brutal sport. It's the reason why people watch it.
It's a collision sport, man. It's not a contact sport. It's a collision sport.
Exactly. So you need to understand that injuries, like Jim said, they are going to happen, and it's just the nature of the beast. I think there's more technology you could apply as equipment wise to help with this kind of stuff. But I don't, you got to change a complete part of the game. Like you said, the offensive player is that's going to end up getting injured now the most, because he's going to try to awkwardly stop because he's going to get flagged or something like that. And it's going to end up in him, pulling something, because that's what happens when you go at a high speed, man. You make a drastic change. Autonomy, bro. You know what I'm saying, dude? Anything could happen. Pinch nerve, pull this, pull whatever.
Yeah.
hit the guy the wrong way because you don't want to hit the other guy. Then there goes the offensive player. So what are you going to do? Change that also? I mean, it's just
Well, I mean, the rule changes I have a problem with, like this clip right here. If you showed this clip 10 years ago, this would have been picture perfect, man. You show this at football camps, growing up, all that stuff. This is the way you tackle, kid. This is the way you do it. And now you're telling me 10 years later, we are going to change this rule. And everybody said it's time for this change. No, man. No, it's not. Everybody, it's so funny to me that organizations like this stayed true to their roots for so many years. And now all of a sudden it's time to change all of these things. We changed a few things and they worked. Now you want to start changing all this different stuff, man. You don't have to change everything. There's some things that are okay with the game. And we've already been telling you for years, you're getting too soft. And I don't know what you expect people to do right here, man. And I have a problem with these new rules that are implemented that were perfect football 10 years ago. Not even 10 years ago, 5 years ago. They're still perfect football, in my opinion.
I don't know, man. It's like the cancel culture is making themselves into football as well, dude.
How many hip drop tackles are made that do not cause an injury?
More than the ones that cause an
probably
injury.
90% at least.
I think you'd be very conservative with 90%. I think it's more like 95%.
That's what I'm saying. You think about, I mean, the majority of tackles in football have to be hip drop tackles because guys are undersized.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's and you're tackling for a wide section of the body, right? Instead of like going for like the section when you could bend real quick, right? Which is your knee, right? Whether it's your head. So now, what happened? CTE went away, so which is not gonna, so all of a sudden nobody's talking about CTE. Now we're talking about this right here. So at one point, that there's only this left right here. Like, and you get a penalty after.
Here's the thing. I know CTE and all this stuff. I know it's a terrible thing, man. We're learning a lot about it, but you know that when you sign up, man. Your parents got to sign a permission slip the first time you play, man.
There's a waiver.
And that's what I'm saying. And you know, if you grow up to be an astronaut, you can die if you go up in space, man. There's dangers to your job.
And you're getting compensated for it.
Same way, man. You got to know that these things going in. Every time, I promise you, any football player that's ever stepped on a field, anybody that's played at any kind of level, it knows that when you strap that helmet on, there's a chance you can get hurt badly, man. And that usually it's when you wind up the guys that are letting up and going half speed. Those are the guys that get hurt, man.
Yep.
And that's what it's going to force some guys to do.
Just like you said, bro, there's people out there that have special licenses to drive hazmat materials, right? Over ice roads.
Bro. They know when they step behind that wheel, they may not come home.
Exactly. And they know that. That's why they get paid higher than others, right?
Exactly,
I manage an operation in the 5th most dangerous industry, which is collection of garbage, has the 5 most death fatalities in the industry and occupational wise. And every single individual there knows that, we do a lot of safety stuff to prevent it, right?
Right.
They all know that, they have to be alert and they know that something could happen.
Exactly.
Now, yes, we try to play mindful as much as we can. Safety is number one. We preach this is kind of the first thing over service and anything. But however, everybody knows that when they take that CDL to learn how to drive a garbage truck, they know and what kind of death machine they're stepping behind it. So there's no different here. And these guys are getting paid millions of dollars.
I start saying they're paying way more than those guys, man.
Absolutely. And with a smaller percentage of death. All right. As opposed
absolutely, bro.
Some of the worst jobs.
I drove a tow truck for a couple years there, man. That's a highly dangerous job too, on the side of the highway every night and stuff like that. I didn't get paid near what these cats play. I promise you, a fraction, a drop in the bucket.
Oh man. Antonio Brown, king of the CTE. And by the way, he's killing it with those damn tweets lately, bro.
That man. He may be the first person we can actually study that stuff on while they're still alive.
That's true, bro. That's true, man. I mean, it is what it is, man. It's oh man, let's touch this one here. I mean, this is the one that actually made the most noise, and JJ Watt was very vocal about it. A bunch of other players were very vocal about it, right? Went out there as soon as he came out. What do you expect us to do? You know what I mean? Yeah. Why do you expect us to tackle? The other one I think has the biggest buzz here, and you mentioned it earlier, the kickoff rule, which is kind of like the same rule of the one the XFL has adopted. And I don't have the rules in front of me, but it's one of those things that everybody's gonna be up. What? Like it's kind of like a zone play. At the 30th, everybody says the 30th, right? And nobody just starts taking off.
I think the kicking team will be the kicker will be on the 35, like always. Yep. And I think the kicking team will be on the opposing 40, and the receiving team will be on either the 35 or the 30. I don't know if they're 5 or 10 yards.
And no fair catches, and everybody starts moving when the catch is made by the punt returner. Kickoff.
And I think a touchback goes to the 30-yard line now.
Yes, sir.
Kick out of bounds goes to the 40. And I don't like it, man. I don't like it when you start changing stuff like this. I mean, there's a reason the XFL wasn't overly successful, and you start changing. I mean, I'm okay with the direction they're headed with that. I think they're getting better with that and stuff like that. But this is not a rule that needs changed, man. I know why you're trying to do it. You're trying to let down on the high speed collisions, having on kickoffs. But once again, it's you know what you're doing when you step out there. If you go to be a career special teams player, I mean, it's going to take some of these guys away. I think, man. You know, these gunners and stuff like that. It's going to create a disadvantage for some of these guys that have been lifelong special teams guys, gunners, and things like that.
Yep.
I mean. I don't like it, man. I don't like when you start. I guess I'm a traditionalist, old school, whatever you want to call it. But you start changing stuff like this, I think it's getting too finicky, man. I think, like I said, just give them flags.
Right now, players like Devin Hester are probably saying I could still run and play. Because imagine talents like that, great partner, kickoff returners like that guy, Deion Sanders. Imagine having this advantage. They were that damn good.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You got a guy like Devin Hester out there, man, and like.
There's a bunch of them that escape my mind right now. But
what was dude's name from Kansas City?
I know, bro. I can't.
So good. Was it Dante Hall?
Dante Hall. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man.
All those players that were good at one thing.
That's
right?
what I'm saying, man.
You know what I'm saying?
These guys. I don't know. I'm anxious to see what it does. I'll be honest. I never really watched any of that XFL, so I don't know. I don't know that I've ever seen one of those other than the one they showed that's been scrolling on Twitter when they changed the rules. Somebody tagged one up there, and I saw it.
It's definitely going to now put a little more value on that position. And I think you're going to see more two-way players do this. Punt, kick return, and also play wide receiver or running back or whatever it is. You're going to see a lot of that. You might see a corner.
The Steelers went straight out and signed Cordell Patterson like today.
Oh, my gosh.
They were like, hey, man, we want him.
Yes. Cordell Patterson. No, and what was his name? What was their quarterback, bro? Back in the day, man. From Buffalo, or Colorado State, Cordell Stewart. He was able to, he could punt, return, play quarterback. I mean, play like every position out there. This guy right now, even though he sucked as a quarterback, would have probably gotten paid like $10 million a year. Just like, hey, man.
They're going to sign these guys, man, and they're going to see people start experimenting, maybe putting star players and stuff back there. I'm like, you realize this is going to get him hit more, right?
Dude, Deebo Samuels. Picture Deebo. Deebo in college would return punts and kickoffs.
Deebo better not do any more than he's doing right now. He's barely handling that.
I know, man, but that's the kind of player I mean that you could probably put in that
Tyreek.
Tyreek Hill, Tyreek Hill for sure. Small guys that can catch and go deep, man. Cordell Patterson is going to take full advantage of this rule change. He is in Pittsburgh now, so that's good.
Probably going to match his punt or kick return touchdowns for his career in 1 year or something. Have like one a game.
That's pretty wild, man.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, do we got to asterisk the record, right?
Yes, I think
you got to. I mean, not Cordell's. Cordell's got it. No, he got it with the rules set. But I think anything after this, I mean, I think you got to start a whole new record, man.
For Cordell, he's going to end up probably adding a little. He's going to add more. That's going to be more difficult to it for somebody to break it.
That's what I'm saying. I think they got to be separate records, man.
Yep, absolutely, man. Staying on this rule change issue here, man. Let me see what other one was kind of big. And those are the two biggest ones, of course. I'm just going to scroll there. I think there's one about replay. Coaches get a third challenge. That's pretty big. No longer have to win their first two challenges to get a third. They'll only have to win one. And one of the first two challenges to be awarded a third. So that's good. Only one of the two. That's good. Enforcement of no, that's bullshit.
I like that, man. I'm all about getting it right. I want to get it right. And there are some times I've seen in the past critical spots in games where a coach had already used a challenge and wasn't able to. And honestly, some of the challenges they lost, they got the call wrong.
Absolutely. I absolutely right. And here's another one that I think it's going to be beneficial, and I wish the 49ers they had this in play a couple of years ago. Emergency quarterbacks. Emergency third quarterbacks who are available to play in case a starter and the backup are ejected, injured, can now be elevated from the 53rd-man roster and practice squad. Last season, emergency QBs could only be elevated from the 53rd-man roster. So that's good. That means everybody and their mother is going to carry a third quarterback consistently now in their roster. So that's more job opportunities for a lot of these middle of the road guys.
Yeah, I don't hate that one either, man. Yeah, I don't hate that. And like I said, we've seen some really poor play happen that from quarterbacks being hurt. I mean, I'm checking out over here in the Rumble chat, man. We got to keep an eye on that too, man. We got Chris over there, that damn Sports Network, and then Buku's in the house over there, man. What's up, boys?
I have to open it here. Hold on a second, because
you're good. I got it pulled up, man. I'll monitor that one. You got the YouTube and stuff. I'll monitor this one.
What we got there, Chris? What's up, fellas? How you doing, man?
Yeah, Chris and my guy Buku over there.
Buku, man. Appreciate you, Buku. Cricket speaks very highly about you all the time, man. I get to hope to meet you one day.
That's my guy, man. That's been my best friend since I was 4 years old. That's my dude, man.
It's a blessing, brother. It's always good to have good friends, man, especially from 4 years old, man. I know one of my closest friends. We know him since 7th grade, and I'm older than you, so
Yeah.
it's like we're going on like 30-something years now. So it's,
That's what I'm saying, man. You don't find them just around the corner.
nah,
Man.
you don't, man. You don't, not at all, man. How you doing anyway, man? It's spring break over here in South Florida. You know, it's my kids are off this week. I took the day off from work. We did a couple of bunch of fun things. You know, we and you know, I was rushing also. I was almost late. By the time I got here, it was like 7. That's why I said, don't worry about it, because I got here like around 7:40 and setting everything up, man. So
Right. I understand, man.
things.
We busy men too, man. You know how it goes. Yeah, I've been doing all right, man. Like I said, I'm geared up for March Madness this weekend. I'll tell you who I'm doing a lot better than, man, is Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, man.
Man, dude, $4.5 million. Look, like Pete Rose said, bro, I'll be scot-free if I had an interpreter back in the day.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Some things don't add up. Some things don't add up here, but it will remain to be seen. This is one of those things.
Will it though? Will it though? So I feel like
when I mean remain to be seen, it's gotta get shoved under the rug. All right,
because they've already started burying this thing as much as they could.
Look, Pete Rose is not because of your interpreter. I hate to break it to you. You will retire when they cancel your ass. He is the biggest draw in baseball, and the MLB is not going to let that slide from a standpoint of getting the hell out of the game, because he is the biggest draw in baseball, has one of the greatest market and draws in Asia. All right.
I mean, let's think about this, man. How can you prove there's a language barrier?
Mm-hmm.
There's a fall guy.
Yep.
This is an illegal gambling service. You can't really prove or track anything. I'm sure they got records, but I don't know that you can get to those. Those might have been burnt already or something.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I'm just saying there's a lot of loopholes in this thing, a lot of squeaky wheels that could be. It's easy to hide, man. It's easy to hide. And like you said, this man just signed the biggest contract in sports history. They got to make some of that money back, man. You can't do it with him sitting on the sidelines.
You're not wrong about that. I mean, shit, man. And look, let's look at it from a business standpoint. I am sorry, Pete. I love Pete Rose. I think they need to just go ahead. They just need to go ahead and let him in the fucking Hall of Fame. I think he's served enough punishment. The guy's gonna die probably in the next 5 years. He's probably not gonna be here in this world anymore. I don't care how much of a douchebag he was.
That man through enough shit, man.
Come on, man. I think he's paid his dues, man.
Something that's legal everywhere now, almost.
Exactly. So look, at what point you're like, okay, just. If you want this to go away, MLB, because that's the whole thing, it's going to go away. Just let Pete back in. Put him in the Hall of Fame. Nobody's going to talk about Ohtani ever again. We're done.
We'll be like, all right, cool.
We're done.
But we'll call it even.
We're done.
You can have Shohei. Well, you gave us Pete.
Exactly.
I promise you, take a straw poll in the public and see which way that vote goes.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Let's see what Jim here to the comments. With sports betting having so much an impact now, if Ohtani did, they won't ban him as a huge international draw. He ties. I mean, this guy is a generational talent. Nobody has seen this ever. All right, the numbers.
Man. They're not since Babe Ruth. I mean, that's the person that comes up like the pitching and the hitting and stuff like that. I mean, that's who else has done that in the last 100 years.
Babe Ruth did it to like a fucking minimum point. The most Babe Ruth ever pitched was like, he only won like five games or 10 games, 20 points. This guy had what he's done. Yeah,
I'll say it. I don't know the Babe. Is the Babe if he plays in today's game. 162 traveling to the West Coast. You can't drink a 6-pack and smoke cigars. I know the Babe's the Babe, but I'll be honest with y'all. All the big Babe fans out there, the Babe was kind of a dick.
Yeah. And look, man, everybody has problems, man. All right. And I'm a Yankees fan. I love the Babe, right? But however, the Babes cannot carry his jockstrap as a dual player. As a dual player.
Care of himself, man. He didn't take good enough care of himself. No. The way it was a lot easier back then to do that and live your life that way. You could not do that this day and age with the way people treat their bodies and stuff, man.
Nope, absolutely not. The way Ohtani is doing his thing, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's remarkable. And that's the reason why they're not gonna go after this guy.
What do you think, man?
He fucking absolutely was betting. He was his runner.
I'll say this.
Come on, man.
I don't know if he was betting on baseball.
Doesn't matter. I mean, look, honestly, I think it's a stupid rule to begin with. As long as you're not betting in your own sport,
to me,
I honestly think so.
Different. It's totally different. Were you betting on baseball?
Exactly.
Or were you betting on college football or whatever, basketball? If you're betting on anything but baseball, and I mean World Baseball Classic, anything. Like, if you were not betting on baseball, I don't have a problem with it, dude.
It's just like in football. Like Calvin Ridley got suspended for a year. He was betting on a basketball game, I think it was.
No, I think he did. He was hurt. He wasn't playing that week, but I think it was stupid. He bet like $25 parlays or something. Yeah,
exactly.
But I think it was on football.
I think we look back at this rule. Baseball, it doesn't matter. Sports betting, period, in sports, right? There has to be you make it that you're not betting on your own sport. go ham on anything else. I mean, you are right now the MLB. Everybody's in bed with FanDuel, DraftKings, the Hard Rock now, and everybody MGM because it brings it brings so much more money to the table, right? But again, you're not allowing your players who you are using, right, to promote betting, not them to do it themselves. How do you expect them not to fall and bet? Right? It's like a crackhead
Everywhere,
working
man.
for a drug dealer, right? And you expect a crackhead to sell the crack.
You're
Okay?
literally, yeah. You're literally.
That's my
putting this
analogy
stuff-
from the streets.
They have to see this everywhere they go. How many DraftKings signs or FanDuel signs or all this stuff are in every one of these stadiums, man, around every corner you turn. And I've been saying this to Buku for a little while now, man. I've been saying I think they should create a sports book solely for professional athletes. You can't bet on any book in the world. You can't tell me we don't have the technology with all these people that run all these companies that we can't create a sports book solely. You have to have an ID number and all that stuff. We know exactly who you are when you log in. Nobody else has access to that. You don't give it to your interpreter. You don't give it to anything, man. Maybe you got to use your thumbprint or something. And you get in there, and if you can bet on anything but your sport. If you get caught betting on your sport anywhere else ever, you're spending 2 years automatic. Don't talk to me for 2 years. Don't come back if you get caught anywhere betting on your sport. But in this book, you can bet on anything else, man. And it would probably be the most lucrative book in the entire world.
I absolutely, because it's got to be so much millions of dollars.
Think about how much money would be bet on that thing, bro.
Yeah, they would not be betting like us, 100 or 25 or 20, whatever the case would be, on a bet. These guys are going to be throwing minimum of like $5,000 on a straight up game. You know what I mean?
And if
minimum,
you want to do that with your money, and they're like, "Well, this creates problems with these people." Well, no, it doesn't. You you load the money in your account just like anybody else. You don't give no markers, no credit, none of that stuff where anybody can hurt themselves. You put it in there. Hey, even put limits on it. If you lost $100,000 in a month, you can't bet for a month, and you can't go anywhere else to bet. If I catch you, you're gone for 2 years.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't even know. This is the other part that floors me, right? Why the hell was he using a spot in California? I know you're in California, dude, but you could just,
man. I read an article. This dude,
you could just do this.
His interpreter met this bookie, something Boyer. He met him at a card game back in 2021. I'm sure it's a pretty sweet card game. I've been to a lot of backroom card games in my life, a lot of high stakes card games in my life. They're pretty cool places, pretty cool people, very lackadaisical, and you get to talking. And hey, man, come, you like to bet sports. So you're at the card table. You're always watching this stuff on TV and everything. You're always talking about gambling. And so I'm sure that's what happened, man. You talk, hey, man, you want to put a bet in here? Whatever. They may have walked to the back room to, hey, I'm so-and-so. Obviously, the dude spoke good English. He's a translator. Yeah. So, I mean, he's back there. He's like, hey, we'll call him, Sean Henney. Sean Henney or something. Just whoever. Make up a name for him. And I represent this guy. I'm going to bring these bets to you. The money's good. You just watch the man sign a $700 million contract, and you're not going to give a guy you don't really know that you just met at a card game. You're not giving him a $4.5 million line of credit, dude.
No, not at all. Not at all. Cricket, I think you might want to put this in writing somewhere and create a business plan for the separate book, man. We got the audience digging it too, man. So Jim agrees with you. There should be a cap amount of bets. That's not a bad idea, man. Yeah, we could call it Crick's Bets.
I'm just saying, man. I've been you call it Crick's Picks, Crick's Bet, whatever you want to, man. They throw me some of that change they're getting in there off that thing. But I think it's the easiest way to police this thing. You got to have a spot where you have these guys. Oh, he's gone for a minute. He'll be back in just a minute, I'm sure. Yeah, but, hold on. You got to have a spot where you can monitor this stuff. You're good, man. I got you.
Can you? Okay.
But because if you don't, I mean, this is where it creates all these problems. You have all this different stuff going on and all that. But if you have this book where you have these guys, and like I said, you can monitor that the whole way. You can't bet on your sport. Make it where you can probably even lock it, where you can't even, if you're a baseball player, you sign under a baseball ID, baseball's locked out. You don't even have the option to look at the lines on that. You can obviously go look at them somewhere else, but you don't even have the option to look at the lines right there. That's what I think should happen, man. I'm telling you, I think that's the easiest way to do it. And they're going to have to figure out a way. It's going to be a trial and error process as the legalization of sports betting continues to grow across the nation. I mean, I think it's eventually going to be a spot where we have all 50 states with legalized sports betting in it. And, it's only. We back?
Yeah, I'm back.
You back? Yeah. All right. There you are, man. That's cool. Hey, man, I do my morning show with Will, man. And so I'm used to having to roll with it when he's got to step away to the Twins and all that.
Well, no, it's can you hear me, bro? Because I think I
can hear you. You're frozen, but I can hear you.
Yeah, frozen. Yeah, I may have to here. See, I don't know why I'm frozen here, but shit, man. Can you hear me though?
You're good,
I mean,
yeah,
all right.
you're fine. You're talking. Yeah, you're good. Just keep rolling.
All
with it.
right. Well, let's roll with it so we could finish this real quick. I could probably still share my the screens anyway. You could get to see my cartoon. But yeah, man, I love the idea. I love the idea. I mean, I might write a business plan, man. Just and we could split the baby, bro. You know what I mean?
Write it down, man. I'm telling you, it's an idea ahead of its time, but I do think
man.
it's a way that you can definitely monitor this stuff a little better.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit of the Sweet 16. Let's do these picks, baby. Let's go ahead and kind of give our reactions here. Let's start with the top picks here. UConn and San Diego. I thought San Diego by this point was not gonna make the Sweet 16, but hey, it is what it is, man. UConn has playing great. I'm not gonna see an upset. Like you said, I think there's a lot of chalk that's gonna make it through the next few rounds. I think UConn is gonna take care of business.
This is a good battle-tested San Diego State team, man. Made a run. Actually, it's a rematch of last year's national championship game right here. So two teams that are familiar with each other, have played in the last 365 days, but I think UConn's playing too good a basketball right now. Too much talent. You got a great coach out there at San Diego State as well. But I think it does end for the Aztecs right here as UConn looks to be heads and shoulders above everybody else.
Look, it's one of those things that everybody thought they were going to have a championship hangover. I also thought so too, but they look really dominant through the first two rounds.
They look just as hungry, if not more hungry, than they did last year.
I know. I think Danny Hurley just has one of those chippy guys, bro. That just a chip on his shoulder.
That guy, man.
That guy's such a tough motherfucker, man. I mean, there's a reason why he was that's what happens, bro. When you know the more successful brother on the court and the most, taught it out of high school and college, you are the better one off the court because you end up having a better career from the sidelines. You know what I mean? Because what the hell is Bobby?
Yeah, he was coaching somewhere not long ago.
Right? Yeah, somewhere.
He was at Arizona State, I think, for a year. I don't know if he's still there, but he was there a couple years ago, I think.
Okay. All right, here we go. Next, let's go back here. We lost the. We have Iowa State and Illinois. What do you think of Iowa State and Illinois? I like Illinois, man, but I think Iowa State is going to probably take is going to end the run here for Illinois. What do you think?
I like both these teams a lot, man. I've made some money off these teams this year, and I do think they're both playing probably their best basketball of the season right now. It's going to be a good matchup, man. I think this one will come down to the wire, but I actually am going with the Illini in this one. Illinois is actually – I have Illinois upsetting UConn in the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four. So, yeah, I like the Illini right here. It's going to be a close game. It's not going to surprise me with whoever wins. It would surprise me if either of these teams blew the other one out. I do think it's going to be a close game. Iowa State's got some great defense, man. Both these teams played in good conferences, battle-tested teams right here. But I just give the edge to Illinois. I do think they have a scorer that can take over the game in Terrence Shannon Jr., and he put up 40 in one of those Big Ten tournament games. Maybe I don't think it was championship. I think it was semis.
Okay.
But either way, man, that guy can play, and he's really a top guy that can take over the game. So I like Illinois in that one.
Okay, perfect. I'm still, I don't know, for some reason I don't like Iowa State, man. They're not that exciting to watch.
Not a bad pick, bro.
Not a bad team though.
They've been playing their best ball for about a month now.
Let's take the Houston and Duke, man. I'm a big Duke fan, but the run stops here. I got Houston winning it all, so I have to go with Houston, even though Duke is my team. Even though Duke has looked great though. I mean, they looked a lot better. The way they finished the season, right? Everything has been shaky all year long. Everybody's like they want Shire's head on a stake here. But all of a sudden, man, I think they look really solid. That James Madison game, nobody thought. The money was on James Madison, right?
I was all over James Madison. Vegas was taking a stand on James Madison. Yeah, Vegas was taking a stand on him too, moving the line down. I got a feeling that Vegas kind of got kicked in the head there on that Duke game. I think so. Man.
It doesn't happen often, but it did. And Duke was that foot.
Well, actually, no, I'd say Vegas probably did all right, honestly, with them moving the line down. So many more people jumping on James Madison. Vegas probably did all right. Because they
made money. Yeah.
And when I saw this matchup, I thought this would be the matchup at the beginning of the tournament. I thought that Duke would wind up finding their way here, but it feels like these two teams are kind of the way Houston finished that game the other day against A&M, where they had that thing in complete control, wound up letting A&M come back and get it to overtime, and wind up just winning by 5 right there. It just felt like that was a little alarming to me. Got a lot of foul trouble earlier, a lot of fouls called in that game. They had 5 guys with 2+ fouls at halftime. It's hard to play your game plan when you have that happen. You got so many of your top guy. I mean, I think the guy that shot the free throw to stretch it out to 4 points into the game had shot 4 free throws all year long. So I mean, that's how deep they were having to get on that bench the other day to Houston. They can't get in foul trouble like that against Duke because Duke will blow the doors off. If you got to put the big dogs down and you got Filipowski and Proctor and all those guys out there, Roach, they'll really tear you up, and you'll be in a 20-point hole before you could even think about it. And so I like the way Duke's playing right now. I love Houston's athletes and their defense, but it's going to be it's probably the most interesting matchup to me in the Sweet 16.
I think so too. I think they are the most interesting matchup in the Sweet 16. It's going to be better than most people think. Honestly,
I agree, sir, and I almost I am leaning toward the Dukies right now. Maybe probably Dukies money line.
Yep. Wow, really? Dukies money line, huh?
I do, man. Based on now, I know a week's a long time. There's a lot of difference between last week and this weekend. So we'll see what teams come out. But I'm just, I guess it's recency bias. But based off what I saw of these last two teams, the last time they were on the court, Duke looked like a much better squad, man. Not much better, but they did look like the better team.
No, so they've definitely impressed the hell out of me, right? From a standpoint that they just turned it around. They look like a completely different team. That's the other part. They look like a complete different team, and that's surprising to me. I thought it was going to be one of those like you did, Elite 32, second round out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With James Madison or whoever. But shout out to Duke, man. I mean, don't be surprised if they pull it off. They could also have the momentum is high for Duke.
Kind of a testament too to how good the ACC actually was. I think a lot of the big experts, the big ESPN dogs, and all those people were kind of down on the ACC this year, and the fans kind of came to their call. They were defending it, and they look like the smart ones right now. You got four ACC teams sitting in the Sweet 16 right now, more than any other conference. I mean, ACC ain't no joke. Still the goats, man.
No, it's not. No, it's not, man. They are one of the best of it conferences in NCAA. NC State, the last remaining Cinderella seed, if you want to call it that, 11th seed against Marquette. NC State, man, their low post game, it's impressive. They're that team, you know what I mean, that kind of grinds you down. But I think Marquette is way too talented, man.
I think so too, man.
You know what I mean? I think the Cinderella run, no pun intended, definitely stops here.
This one could get ugly. This one could really get ugly. I think you could probably outline Marquette up in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Line's kind of moving out a little bit, but I think you're going to be safe all the way up. I think it's a double-digit win for Marquette. It's been a great run by NC State, a great season. Once again, one of those ACC teams that is, played great competition all year long, and it's showing in the tournament time, as they're matching up with some of these teams that are used to the tough play and being able to grit it out down at the end of games. But I think that with, a little break here, and Marquette, you got Tyler Kolek back. He's really flowing. I think he had 11 assists in both those first-round games. So really starting to look good. And they're clicking back like they were in midseason form before he got hurt. I think it all ends for the Wolfpack right here. But it's been a good season, man. Real good run.
Absolutely. North Carolina against Alabama. Look, Carolina has looked also very impressive, right? I think they've covered the spread on both wins, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I know they did the first round. I
think the second round they did too.
They did wind up. Yeah, I took Michigan State in the second round. Yeah, I wound up backing off. So yeah, they did cover it in both games, and Alabama did as well. If I'm not mistaken there. I mean, both these teams playing really good ball. Two of the more impressive teams that I think a lot of people were shorting early on. A lot of people had Carolina. They had them losing to Wagner or whatever, but they had them losing to Mississippi State or Michigan State. A lot of people had Alabama, myself included, going out in the first round against Charleston, and they really blew the doors off in that game. So both these teams, maybe a little chip on their shoulder right here. Should be a great matchup. A lot of athletes on the floor. I'll tell you what, bet the over, man. I think it's 173.5. Bet the over. They're going to score a bunch in this one.
I think so too. You mentioned chip on the shoulder, right? Auburn is not there, so Alabama's like, yo, what happened to us, right? We're a top team last year, so we're definitely doing this this year again, getting to the Sweet 16 back-to-back seasons. Talk about another chip on the shoulder, Clemson.
Man, another one of them ACC teams.
Those guys were so. Remember, and you and I both also kind of agree with that, right? We're like, Clemson, shaky.
Didn't think we would see this out of them,
but they've played like the team that everybody expected them to play during the regular season, and they look. I like this Arizona team. I got them going far. I think I got them in a few of my Final Four brackets, but. Shit, man! I with the way Clemson's been playing, I think Arizona should win, but I would not put it past them to upset Arizona.
Arizona better come to play in this one, man. This is the type team that can really give them some trouble. You got a physical center in PJ Hall, the best player for the Clemson Tigers.
Yes.
That guy can play, man. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. Did foul out late in that game last weekend against Baylor, but wound up working out for him there.
Yep.
But Clemson is a good team. I felt like going into the tournament, they were kind of underseeded. They were projected around a 4 or 5 seed for most of the regular season. The metrics had them there. Wound up falling to the 6 because they had a tough little stretch at the end. But, a team that's, like I said, very, very tough. Very tough, and they're not going to lay down for you. So if Arizona doesn't come out, now Arizona can shoot the ball. But once again, Clemson's defensive schematics can really cause some problems with that. And if they don't shoot it well early on, it's another team you can find yourself in a hole against because Clemson's playing good on both ends of the floor.
That's what they did to Baylor. I mean, Baylor shot themselves in the foot from the line, but
Oh my God, man!
Baylor,
There's a couple teams like that. A&M too.
yeah, A&M too. And that's one of the things that Baylor was that kind of team that they live beyond the arc, right? Good shooters and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, man, I mean, not just they started calls from beyond the from the 3-point line, and Clemson was doing their game, and then of course missing free throws. It was just a horrible combination, and Clemson just played their game, and their game was good enough to upset Baylor. And I think Arizona is going to come out here trying to knock them out early, because that's the way you beat a team like Clemson. Don't let them breathe. Go on a 10-0 run to start the game, or a 10-2, or whatever the case may be, to just put them on their heels.
And I think you will see an Arizona team that's focused and ready to go. They still got that. I know they've won 2 games now since then, but they still have that taste of that first round exit last year as a 2 seed against Princeton. And I think this is another team, kind of a chip on their shoulder. Caleb Love, the transfer from North Carolina, is which is also an interesting kind of layer to this thing. Arizona wins, North Carolina wins. You get Caleb Love against RJ Davis. Caleb Love was part of that run to the national championship game a couple years ago, ending Coach K's career. A big part of that. So it would be really interesting to see him playing against North Carolina in an Elite 8 matchup there. So I think this Arizona team is going to be very focused in this thing.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think about Purdue and Gonzaga? Gonzaga, again, I thought Gonzaga was not going to make it to the Sweet 16. They were not one of them. I actually had them going second round. I know, but against Purdue, which Purdue finally broke that jinx of getting eliminated as a high seed early. You know what I mean? Like they've done 3 out of the last 4 years. Yeah.
They finally did get that monkey off their back. And they've looked impressive early on. I've not been high on this Purdue team.
Me neither.
I'm not very high on Zach Edey.
Me neither.
All that stuff. I know he puts up the numbers, but I think the numbers should be much more inflated than that. I really do.
Dude, but, it's okay. Again, I'm not trying to bash this kid, dude, but this guy it's not an NBA player. Okay.
It's just not, it's not his fault, man. The way these people, they're supposed to know this game and stuff, sit up there and praise. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player.
He's a good college player
in Division I college basketball. But it's part of the reason is he's a foot taller than everybody else, and he seriously should average over 40 points and 20 rebounds a game.
Bro, Danny Ferry, written all over Sack Eddie's career in the NBA. Right, great college player. Just like all these college players were back in the 90s and the 80s. His game is not made for the NBA. I hope, there's more successful in the NCAA, because he's not going to step a foot, And
he gets a tough matchup in this one against Gonzaga and EK, the center for the Zags, man. He's going to get a battle of one of those physical NBA type styles. I know EK's not as big as some of the centers in the NBA, but he is definitely going to bring that physical style. And Zach, he's going to have to put his big boy pants on for this one, man. I'm telling you, Gonzaga is probably, I would say, and when I really sit back and think about it, Gonzaga to me, for teams that I didn't expect to do much, probably was the most impressive. I mean, the way they came out just dominated those games, man.
Think about it. Edey is going to match up against an NBA, against a player, right? That has all the NBA tools for a big man, right? He's going to face you up, and he's going to be able to try to take you off the dribble or first step and take you to the hole. That's what you want to do. You want to go at Edey right away, not from a post standpoint. Let him come out, right? You know what I'm saying? Use your athleticism, get him into foul trouble. You're not going to get the hoop, but at this point, you attack him, all right? And the best way you attack him is like for getting him away from the post. And that's one of these kind of play. And then this guy can also hit the mid-range. So it's going to be one of those things that you could eat all day. If he's not going to come at you, you know what I'm saying, to beat him off the dribble or with that quick first step, start hitting those mid-range on his ass. Trust me, because that's Edey is not laterally athletic, dude, all right? He doesn't have great footwork.
I agree, man. This Gonzaga team can really create some problems for anybody they match up with. Like I said, you got the physical play in the paint with EK. Then you got guards like Nimbard, that is a guy that's played a lot of college basketball there. And so, I mean, this team could create mismatches for anybody. They can shoot it from outside. They can pound it down low. They play good defense. They got a great coach that's been here plenty of times for now 9 straight Sweet 16 appearances. So, I mean, this is a complete team right here with some NBA talent on it. And, I really think that Purdue's got to be on upset watch.
Their front court is athletic. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
They're athletic as hell. They could jump high. They're big boys. I mean, when I mean big boys, bro, they're built like a fucking rock. Those guys are like.
I mean, guys like Anton Watson, too, alongside EK there. I mean, Braden Huff steps in, gets some valuable minutes in there. I mean, you got a solid lineup. I mean, you got, let's see, 6 guys here averaging over 9 points a game. So they spread it out there.
Yep.
I mean, you got guys that can hurt you from all over the floor. And you see that when they get in sync, flowing like they have been the last couple rounds. I mean, I know Kansas was leading by a point at halftime, but Gonzaga turned it on and whipped them in the second half. I know Kansas was down McCullers and all that, but still, Gonzaga, they got a lot of talent still on that Kansas Jayhawk bench, and Gonzaga dominated them, man. Dominated in the second half.
Absolutely, man. And now let's get over here with the final matchup, man. Your Vols, baby, your Tennessee Vols against the Creighton, baby. I guess what do you think? What I know who you're gonna pick because you got your Lars tell you, but honestly, man, what do you think of this matchup? I think it's the matchup.
I'm glad this is the last one on Friday night. They gave us as much time as we could to rest on this thing here. So, I think the matchup favors Tennessee. And now if Creighton shoots the lights out like they can,
yes,
that would be a completely different story. If they do one of those nights where they have 28 threes and they hit 14 of them, it's always hard to beat a team like that. However, I think Tennessee's length and the defense. I mean, Tennessee, one of the elite defenses in the country, top five, have been for years now. But now you also have a guy in Dalton Connect that can take over a game from the offensive side. The offensive efficiency has skyrocketed this year from past years. You have other guys like Zakai Ziegler and Vescovy and then Josiah Jordan James, Owaka, Adu, all those different guys, man, that can hurt you. And like even guys like Gainey. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways Tennessee can hurt you. But Creighton can shoot it with the best of them, man. If Tennessee can force them into some tough shots and, build a little lead early, because if Tennessee gets out on you by 10, 12 points, they're really gritty. It's really hard. You'll see teams come back like Texas did the other night. But that defense, they're also battle-tested, man. A lot of veteran guys on this squad that have played together 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, it can really – Tennessee's been there, man. They've been there and done that. So, I think the matchup favors the Vols. I'm not going to be making a pick in this one. I got enough skin in this game, man.
I know. Connect cannot come out as flat though, like he did in the last game.
He cannot, man. He cannot. He's going to have to take over in that spot. If he comes over, if he returns that Dalton Connect that had that little 7-8 game, 32 points a game streak there in the middle of the season, he returns to that guy. Tennessee's going to be a tough team to beat because the defense is there, and you have other guys that can distribute the ball around him and also make some shots. So if he shows up to play, man, and plays the caliber player that he really is, I think he's the player of the year. And if he can do that, man, I think that Tennessee should have enough for him. Line's bouncing back around. It's open at -2.5, went up to -3, it's gone back down to -2.5. But I like Tennessee in this one, but it's all going to depend. They got to show up to play, and they can't get in the hole early.
No, absolutely. I think last game they were the better team, so they had enough talent to kind of, to waver how flat they came out because they did. I mean, Connect needs to come in this game for them to be successful. I think Connect has to drop 30.
He needs to take over early.
Yeah, it does. He needs to come in and have 15 points in the first half. And from a standpoint of not just hitting the outside shot, but he's a guy that also takes it to the basket, right?
Yeah.
Kind of inserting himself because everything starts with him, right? The offense flows from him downward, and he's one of those guys that also draws a lot of attention and can make the proper play pass. In college, bro, it's not about having a triple double; it's about hitting guys when everybody's trying to double team you. He's one of those guys that draws that double team when he's on. So,
and he's
I'm
also
excited for the game.
He's got to be able to stay out of foul trouble too, man.
Yes, sir.
You got a smart team in Creighton with also some veteran guys that played together, guys like Kalkbrenner, who can really do it, man. I like that guy a lot. He's a player. He can step outside and shoot it and take it down low. And I love Doug McDermott, man, the coach for Creighton. I've always liked that guy. I think he is a great coach. I think he's probably going to wind up in the future College Basketball Hall of Fame, man. Honestly, with his success that he's had at a place like Creighton, man, it really, has put that school on the map, in my opinion. That's not easy to do in Omaha, Nebraska there. So I like this Creighton team. I do. I am nervous about the matchup, but I'm always nervous. I was nervous about the St. Peter's matchup. So
no, look, it's not a walk in the park, man. I mean, Creighton is a really good team. They're not a 3 seed for nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, look, at this point of the Sweet 16, bro, it's put your big boy pants.
That's right. Everybody left can play now, man.
That's right, man. I mean, look, for the first time in a few years, you got like one really high seed in the 11th seed, and you got a 6 seed. The 5th seeds in the tournaments are really good seeds. You know what I'm saying? Once you get to that point, especially
we had 2 5 seeds make a Final Four last year.
Exactly. So it's one of those things that 5 seed to first seed, it could happen. But oh man, honestly, it's I'm looking forward to this. Like I love this time of year, man.
Likewise, sir. Likewise.
Yeah,
it is like Christmas, man.
Man, the first 4 rounds are amazing, bro. When you watch the first 3 rounds, the tournament of 64, the Elite 32, the Sweet 16. It's just that's the whole bread and butter of the tournament, whether you're gambling or not, man. It's great basketball, dude. That's where you're gonna still see a lot of the love for the game. So
absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I agree, man. I agree. I love this time of year myself, man.
Well, with that being said, my friend, this is all we got. I apologize for the technical difficulties. I didn't want to log off again. I think I had my camera on the wrong input, so it started glitching throughout the show. And I was like, hey, you know what? But my man Cricket brought it home like always. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, no problem, man. Like I said, Will's got them twins, man. I'm used to it. I'm used to having to just roll with it sometimes.
Oh, man. But I got anything else, Cricket, please let them know, man, where you're up to, where they could find you. All right. Shout them out. What you do. Let's go, man.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Cricket1414. Cricket is spelled with 2 T's. You can find me every morning over on the Game On channel with my guy Will for the Sports Morning Espresso Shot. We get rolling about 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 4:30 a.m. Pacific. And then for the best value in sports handicapping, come check me out over at sportspicks.locals.com. We got the great Robert Barnes making the official picks. He has been crushing March Madness, y'all, which he does every year. So if you ain't signed up, you better get over there and get them picks, man, because he is killing it right now. We got a great community. You post your own picks, videos, things like that. We'll interact back with you. So come check us out, man. Sportspicks.locals.com, where we turn the odds in your favor.
There we go, baby. Like I always say, bro, if you like money, you definitely go and sign up. If you hate money, then, keep doing whatever the hell you're doing, which is probably
That's right.
That
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Listen, everybody, thank you for listening and watching today. All right. We appreciate you all. Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports On Podcast. And of course, with Cricket. And Cricket, when do we see him again?
We'll see you next week, man. Next Wednesday.
You got it. Peace.